What is going on, guys? DBG here, and today we are going to be going over 5 players or types of players that you should not buy in NBA 2K22 MyTEAM. And this is the kind of the rule every year. There's the same types of players that end up being super expensive every year, and in the end they drop so much straight away. So if you happen to pull any of these players, whether I don't advise it if you're buying packs, or you get them in a free pack. If you pull any of these players, sell them. Any of these high players, sell them early, because they're going to have more value early than they have later. Now, obviously, everything depreciates in value, but these are the cards that are going to depreciate the quickest in value. And not only that, they're not going to set you into even a good position playing the game. So, also, if any of these... If you want to disagree with this statement and say, I just want to use my favorite players, that is perfectly fine. Do whatever way you find fun. But at the end of the day, this is a channel where I give tips, and my tips are not based around any one individual person's preference and how they like to play the MyTEAM mode. This is going to be how to get the least screwed, get the most bang for your buck, and for avoiding these tips. If you want to make some of these decisions, that is perfectly fine, but just know that they're not going to be great in terms of bang for your buck. If by making these decisions you have more fun in the game, go ahead. At the end of the day, they're a video game. It's meant to be fun. So, let's talk about the first type of player right here. And this is going to be the hyped, low overall base card. Players that you can expect. This guy right here. The guy that I have my arrow on. Kobe Bryant. I think we get an Emerald Kobe. We might get an Emerald or Michael Jordan. I think we see a Sapphire LeBron James. I think we see a Gold LaMelo Ball. Those are the type of cards where you are looking and you're just like, they're going to be stupidly expensive. Like, we can't forget, this card was so expensive. Even after everyone knew about the Cam Reddish glitch. The Cam Reddish glitch didn't... Once Cam Reddish glitch happened, everyone knew about this card. It shouldn't have been expensive. Not only that, this card was super expensive as well. And you might be saying, oh, he was a 6-7 point card. Dude sucked. Came on January the 7th. Dude sucked the day he came out. He was unusable the day he came out. But he still was worth something because he was LaMelo Ball. And that happens every year. I remember this first time I ever made this video. I'm pretty sure the first time I ever made this video was talking about Lonzo Ball in 2K18. And I made this one talking about LaMelo Ball last year. And I'm just like, look, there is no point overspending on these type of players, because you're just paying for the name. And not only that, like, we all know, we can see here there's like 7 versions of LaMelo, and he didn't even come into the game until November. Like, again, if you really want to use LeBron James, don't worry, there's gonna be 20 versions of him. Again, if not more, you're gonna be able to use LeBron James eventually. But don't. What will end up happening is, like, say if LeBron's an 85 overall Sapphire, he will be one of the most expensive 85 overall Sapphires in the game because he's LeBron James. But we can't forget, the current cards are coming out in 5 weeks. And we're probably going to see one promo LeBron James before the current cards. And I think these guys are going to end up being super cheap, the base cards, like super, super cheap. And I just think that there is just no real point in overspending on guys that are not going to be great, especially that are low rated. Like, again, unless it's like back in the day, for example, if you saw an Emerald Kobe Bryant, you might think, okay, this might have something different. Like, back, it used to be a case when you saw a rookie. Say if you saw an 81 overall LeBron and an 85 overall LeBron. The 81 overall LeBron might have been like young LeBron, where he was faster and a better dunker. And the 85 overall LeBron might have been a better shooter and a little bit slower, like a more common LeBron James. But now 2K have literally made it so that every card is an upgrade on the previous one. So... like, again, Kevin Garnett's rookie card last year had 40 speed. But yeah, Kevin Garnett for the Celtics had like 90-something speed. But yet his rookie was slow. Kobe Bryant's rookie, Froby, was slower than 2016 Kobe. Like, it was... 2K used to make cards based on their time. Like, it used to be, say, like, rookie Michael Jordan used to always be the fastest Michael Jordan. And then some of the other Michael Jordans may not be as fast as the rookie Jordan, but they were all way better shooters. The rookie Jordan couldn't shoot. That's the way 2K used to work. But the thing is, 2K have not worked like that in so long that these lower overall cards are all going to suck. They're not going to do anything well.
So you're putting all you're doing is losing your MT by buying overhyped players. Again, if you really want to use them and don't listen to my advice, that is fine. Just know that you're losing your MT. Then we got the starter players normal versions. So these guys are still going to get base cards. I'm almost certain of it, the starter cards. And there is a 0% chance that the base versions of these cards are better than the starter cards. I personally think the starter cards are going to go to Ruby. And some people are saying, oh, there's no base cards that are Ruby. Yeah, there are. There are Amethyst base cards. It's just not any of the current NBA players. But I see all these guys going up to Ruby. And the fact that you can get all of them. You can get all of them. Like, I think a Ruby, like these guys are probably going to take an hour and a half to Evo. And they're going to be the equivalent of 10,000. Most of these guys are going to be the equivalent of 10,000 MT cards. They really are. So as long as you're smart, like there's no need to ever buy a Zion Williamson. That's just being dumb. Trae Young, there's just no point. Again, this guy's going to be better. Heck, I would even maybe say if there are similar cards to your starter cards, there's no point. Like, I don't know how much better the best Steph Curry we get day one is going to be than this Trae Young, if he's better at all. This Trae Young might be better than the best Steph Curry, because that's probably going to be an 85 overall card. So the starter cards are going to be like gold dust, lads. I'm telling you. Early on in this game, with the way base cards are, starter cards are going to be like gold dust. So I would strongly advise you guys to not, like, if you are a big Trae Young fan, just grind out the starter cards and get them. If you're a big Jokic fan, that's fine. If you want like a shooting center, it's highly likely that Porzingis is going to be like an emerald or a gold, and he's still going to be like, I don't know, 15k. But yet Jokic's probably even better and free. So because of how good these 5 starter cards are, there's just no point getting the normal versions of them or normal versions of similar players. Then, this is one that a lot of people have not really talked about. And it is the pre-order cards. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, don't get Kareem, don't get... Maybe this Kevin Durant is better. This Kevin Durant's probably equal, if not better, than the base Kevin Durant. But this card, you guys can't see it here, but this card plays power forward, and the base Kevin Durant only plays probably a small forward. So that's probably a difference there. But lads, if you want an inside scoring center, just use this Kareem. There is no point spending a bunch of MT on... Let me just think of a hypothetical player. I don't know, screw a Buggy. This Buggy's not going to be able to shoot. There's no point spending your MT on a Buggy. There's no point spending your MT on, I don't know, maybe there's a Patrick Ewing that's a Ruby or something. And he's the highest overall center in the game. Just use this Kareem. He's not going to be that much worse. Dirk, I'm iffy on him because of how bad his release is. But then Kevin Durant, like Kevin Durant is going to be one of the better players to run a power forward on day one. There's no doubt about that. Like, he's getting probably a 75 3-ball. He's got Kevin Durant builds. He's got the Kevin Durant release, which is pretty decent. He's going to probably have quicker shifty side to side. His SIGs are always good. He's good to run a power forward because of his player build and his length. So, like, again, using someone like him rather than, say, spending the whole bunch of MT on a Ben Simmons, which people will do. People will spend a bunch of MT on Simmons. And I don't know who the players are, but there's going to be a lot of historic cards that are 85, 86 overall. And those cards on day one can sometimes cost 7 or 8k MT. There's no point spending your 7 or 8k MT when you've got a Kevin Durant sitting there for free. So, yeah, that is another thing that people probably should not buy. And then, this is the one that most people fall for. And this is the one that I have fallen for so many times over the years, and I might fall for again. Expensive high overall players that don't do anything. I'm trying to think of players that were like that this year. So all players. Anthony Davis is probably the one that I used the most, and I was like, the whole time, like, this card was not very good. Just want to see, can I collections 20 current? So, LeBron, prime example. I was about to say, Kawhi played decent defense, and Kevin Durant was alright. LeBron James is the perfect example. This card was bang average at everything. He was okay speed-wise. He was okay on defense. He was okay dunker. He was okay in the post. And he was a slightly below average shooter with mediocre at best badges. He did nothing well. Paul George was better than this guy. Tatum was as good as this guy. Tatum was as good because he had bronze clamps. Heck, Jimmy Butler with his silver clamps was as good as this guy. There were so, like, this is what you don't want to fall for, is that, like, there's going to be the base, we know the base card set. So, for example, LeBron's always the best example I can give. But there's going to be other ones. Michael Jordan could be similar. Michael Jordan could have all terrible stats. They could make it, or you could see a bunch of 90 overall cards in the base set. We've seen Rapalman, we know there's 90 overalls. There could be a bunch of 90 overall guys in the base set, and then you look at their stats, and they're actually not good at anything. Especially early on in the year. Jack of all trades are pointless. Like, you want a scorer at the point. You want a 3-and-D guy at the 2 and the 3. You want a shooter at the 4, and then you've got a choice of what you want to do at the 5. You can either go speed and dunking, you can go inside game, or you can go shooting. You can go one of those 3 options for the 5. Different styles suit different things. But jack of all trades, master of none players, because it's not like at the end of the game where, or even, let's just say this LeBron right here, in January, you were like, okay, he was good at everything. He was a good dunker, good in the post, fast, good shooter, good lateral quickness. Even this LeBron here, he was fast, good shooter, good on defense. He was good at everything. Wasn't absolutely spectacular at everything, anything except speed, but he was good at everything. But, and then again, this was like outside of speed, this guy didn't do anything particularly well, but he was a jack of all trades who did one thing very well, which is speed. The problem is that when you're a jack of all trades, master of none, you don't fit any system and you become a liability. These type of cards become liabilities on the floor because the way 2K is, it's like if you're looking at player builds for my player, an all-around player who's average at everything. But yeah, no, you need your play shot to be able to score. You need your sharp to be able to hit shots. You need your lock to be able to play defense. You need your power forward to be able to play defense and hit threes in the corner and rebound. You need your center to set screens and play defense. Like, every player has a role. The problem is that when you get a jack of all trades player like a LeBron, you will, like a LeBron last year, there's going to be different. It's not going to be LeBron. I doubt it's going to be LeBron because he's not going to be 90 overall. There's going to be a player, I don't know who it's going to be yet, but it's going to be like this. The people are paying 20, 30K for because they're a high rating and they suck. Because they don't do any one thing well. And then the last thing. And I'm not saying not to buy these players in the grand scheme of things. Just don't buy them on day one. Holo cards, highly graded cards. Nobody knows the grand scheme of things, how important these are going to be. So while there's hype about grading, and while there's hype about holo cards, they are going to be so expensive. It's like if you guys remember when the hero cards first came in, the comic book cards. For like a couple of days, the comic book cards were so much expensive than normal cards. And then after a week or so, when like Nash came out, both versions were the same price. These people realized they're the same card. We don't know what effect it's going to be. The MT bonus could be 10 MT for a 10, for a PSA 10. And that means nothing. Because there's a cap on MT of 1200 anyway. Holo cards might not really mean anything for XP. It might give you an extra 20 XP and no one really cares about that. So everyone's going to be hyped on day one for holo cards no matter what. Everyone's going to be hyped on day one for the PSA cards. And the day one hype for this new concept is the prices are not going to go up. So some people might be saying, okay, but what if they end up being this really important thing and we've got in early? Don't worry about that. Trust me, do not worry about that. Obviously, day one, especially if you, like me, are flying to New Zealand for 15 minutes on Thursday. Like most of us are flying to New Zealand on Thursday. No one has any MT, so prices are going to be low. But say after the first couple of days, when the hype is there, people are going to be really wanting to buy it, be like, oh, I got this holographic card. And then what's probably going to happen is the hype's going to die. Hype means more than their usability in game. So if you see a PSA 10 card in day one, I know it's tempting. It was really tempting to say, I have a PSA 10 card. Or making a full team of PSA 10 cards. If they're the same price, like if it's a PSA 10 card is the same price as an ungraded card, yeah, go ahead, go get it. But like it could turn out that these gradings mean next to nothing. And if you, I can tell you for a fact, people are going to pay twice as much for holographic cards than normal cards on day one. And people are going to pay twice as much for PSA 10 cards as ungraded cards. And in reality, there is almost 0% chance that after 3 weeks, when we realize what they are, that the cards are going to be twice as much. They might be, like holographic cards are going to be more expensive than normal cards. PSA 10 cards are going to be more expensive than normal cards. But it could be like, there could be so little of a difference like there might only be like a 2,000-3,000 difference in reality. Like when you see a diamond shoe on a player back in the day, where you might pay, you say, you know what, I'll pay an extra 2,000 MT because I got this good diamond shoe. But what's going to happen on day one is it's going to cost twice as much to get a holo card. It's going to cost twice as much to get a PSA 10 card, and that's just bad value. That is just going to be bad value. So if you want holo cards, if you want PSA 10 cards, that is perfectly fine. Do not fall into the trap of buying the going into the hype and buying them on day one, because that is a bad idea. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it, lads. That is the video. These are 5 players not to buy at the start of my team, especially on day one. After a couple of days, when we start to learn about the mode, then we can make more informed decisions. But I know for a fact day one, especially when there's no database and people haven't found out the budget beast yet, I know for a fact, again, the low overall hyped cards like the Lonzo Balls in years past, and now because they're going to be low overall players of some of the NBA's greats. Again, 71 overall Yao Ming is going to have 25 speed and probably a 60 post hook. He's going to suck. Like in the grand scheme of things in the game, like this Kobe's not going to be better than say this Garrett Griffith, but he's going to be probably more expensive. I know for a fact that's going to happen. The starter players is a no-brainer. Making use of the pre-order cards, that's something that I really stress in 2K that people don't always do. Like there's a reason why I really stressed last year. I was like, look, Dame Lillard's pre-order card last year. I was like, this is the perfect just starter point guard. He should be the last player you replace in your team. These 3 guys should be mainstays in your team. These guys, especially if you order this edition, should be the main men in your team. If you don't order 75th anniversary edition, you don't get them. At this point, obviously, it doesn't really matter. I don't think you get any cards, actually, if you don't. Oh, no, you do. Do you get a Luka Doncic card? I could be wrong. You get a free agent card. Just abuse the free agent card for a couple of games. And then, obviously, the grading and holo cards. Trust me, they're going to be more hyped day 1 and day 2 than they're ever going to be. So that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.